Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NickyNick NY TV. This is your host, François Victor. It's a pleasure to have you with us again tonight because we always bring you the all subjects and everything that matters to you. Today, we have the pleasure to have in our studio an immigration attorney. This is Mr. Bradley D. Shaw. He is a child of New York.
Yes, born in Brooklyn, well, born in Manhattan, but raised in Brooklyn.
Raised in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
so therefore he's one of ours, you know, and he went to New York University and also graduated from New York Law School. His specialty is immigration matters. So therefore, since in terms of immigration, we have so much out there that comes from especially Haitians. So therefore, Mr. Bradley is really delighted to be here and to talk about immigration matters.
Yes.
Mr. Bradley, we have heard, it's been out there, like, you know, new programs about immigration and
Yes.
directed especially, and some of them, like, especially for Haitians.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, of course. Well, we're talking about a program called the Haitian Family Unification Parole Program. This is a program that's being instituted by Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Customs and Immigration Service, Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS. And what this is designed to do is to allow people from Haiti specifically who are waiting in Haiti for their visa, their permanent resident visa, to be current, to enter the United States, to unify with their family. So basically, it's cutting the waiting time that those people have to submit to before they enter the United States.
So actually, this program, as you said, is specifically or exclusively for Haitians, correct?
Yes, it's designed in response, of course, to the tragedy of the earthquake. And the pressure that has been put on the Haitian population, and the great Haitian community that we have here in New York. Many family members attempting to immigrate, but there is quite a long wait for various visa categories. So this program is designed to allow people to wait in the United States, and that's what a parole is. A parole document allows a person to enter the United States legally and remain in the United States. This program does not in itself grant these people permanent residence. They still have to wait until their priority dates are current.
But at least they have the opportunity to be with their family.
Yes.
And let's say children or husband be here.
Yes, correct.
And they will be granted a work permit.
Yes. So what they will be given is a travel document called a parole, which may be used for multiple entries if they choose to go back.
If they choose to go back and come
Right.
back, yes.
And also they will be able to apply for employment authorization, and with employment authorization comes a Social Security number. So they will be perfectly legal to work in the United States. But just to be clear again, their permanent residence case would still be pending.
Pending. Okay.
And depending on the waiting periods.
In other words, there is still some benefit here. Instead of waiting over there and you're not working,
Right.
you come down here and wait whatever the time you would wait in Haiti, you would wait next to your loved ones and stay with them while you can work and make some money as you wait for the for your. I mean, it doesn't hurt, does it?
No, it's a great advantage, and it's a nice development. The the key here is that they're going to identify applications and send notices to eligible applicants.
Ok. Qui te m'expliquer nous une façon plus claire et aussi en créole exactement ça, Mr. Bradley dit fait dit nous là. C'est que c'est un programme qui design qui est censé fait pour Haïtiens seulement. Et il fait à cause de tremblement de terre là qui était passé en Haïti. Maintenant, son bagage qui exclusivement et précisément pour Haïtiens seulement. Cependant, c'est pas que peut-être il y a bonne résidence, mais monde qui censé éligible, qui censé que immigration disposée pour faire rentrer là, yo capable de rentrer, il y a bail travail, yo capable pas bail travail, non, il y a bail permis de travail. Donc au lieu que yo été en Haïti tant tout le ça, yo capable venir ici et rester avec famille yo pour yo tant visa, disons permanent visa que y a bail. Mr. Bradley, just to clarify the concept of this program for Haitian, is everyone eligible for this?
No, not everyone is eligible. The people who are eligible, number one, are currently in Haiti. Okay.
Okay.
So if you're in the United States,
you're not in there.
You're not going to be eligible. Number two is you must have a petition, an approved petition pending. That means that your parents or your spouse will have already filed.
Yeah, your case must be in the file of ICIS.
Yes, and most likely in an approved case.
Okay.
Not just a case that has been filed, one that has already been approved, and it establishes a priority date, and you're waiting simply for a visa, a resident visa, to become available.
Okay, so therefore, and in that case, that will show different categories in there, correct?
Yes, I mean the immigration system is based on a preference system, and they've divided it into several categories based on the family relationship. Now, of course, all of this, if you are the spouse or child, minor child, of a U.S. citizen, you have a separate track for becoming a permanent resident. So this doesn't really apply in most cases to the spouse of a U.S. citizen, because resident visas are already available. There's no waiting time for that category. But for example, the spouse and minor child of a legal permanent resident, somebody with a green card, there is a waiting period for the spouse of a legal resident. There's also a waiting period for the adult children of legal permanent residents.
Oh, so in that case, that brings the permanent resident closer to a certain higher priority. Let's say, like, if I'm a U.S. citizen and I'm bringing my wife over,
yes,
I already have a priority because I am a U.S. citizen and my wife has to be with me.
That's correct.
So now they take the U.S. Permanent resident, so that brings them closer to a higher priority.
That's
Is that correct?
A few years ago, they made the government, USCIS, realized that it was very important that the spouse of a legal resident have a certain priority. So they have reduced the time, the waiting periods for that category. And now it's approximately 18 to 24 months, where before it was 5 or 6 years.
When it comes to what is the benefit anyway, for these people, what this program brings for them in terms of benefits?
Well, it gives them employment authorization. It allows them to be reunited with their family member in the United States while they're waiting. Also, important to note is that you can't, if you do have an application, you have to be notified by a department called National Visa Center. That's part of the Department of State. They have control over immigration applications that are processed abroad.
Okay.
In Haiti, for example, at the U.S. consulate abroad. So a person cannot apply directly without first being notified by the National Visa Center. So it's very important that if you have moved at any time since you filed the application for your relative, that you notify the USCIS, which is the Immigration Service, and the National Visa Center of your change of address, because they will be the ones to initiate these application process. So if they don't have your address, they're going to send the papers to your old address, and it's not going to be forwarded to you, because typically immigration mail does not get forwarded like other mail.
Okay.
It's just sent back to the
immigration
department. Exactly. So you really need to notify them.
So once you are notified, how do you apply?
Well, the notification will set forth the requirements that you need to apply. I'm sure it'll consist of several forms that have to be filled out and returned to them with additional documentation. Usually there's a financial component that the petitioning relative has to demonstrate that they're employed and that they have sufficient income to support their family members who may be immigrating. That will likely be part of it. And you'll have to return those forms and also apply for the parole document. So it'll be a series of forms and other documentation like birth certificates, marriage licenses, background checks. There may be a health exam. The regulation, this program is set to start in early 2015. And besides their press release, they really haven't given that much information about the details of the program.
Okay. However, based upon your experience, do you think this is something that somebody would take lightly? Take it like, sit on your table and fill the application and send it over?
Look, what we do at my office is we provide expert preparation of any type of immigration document. Yes, people can fill out these forms, but it's important to get it right the first time and to know what the requirements are. People have, never, if you haven't done this before, you may not include what is necessary and you may not answer the questions properly.
Sometimes those questions are tricky.
They can be.
You have one question here, it seems that contradict the first one that you answered.
Yes, and more than that, it's also knowing what to include with your application, what documentary evidence to support the application, in addition to filling out the form accurately. Because if you don't include, let's say, your tax return or a job letter or a proper version of your marriage license or things of that nature, they may hold up your application and the processing of it.
So therefore, it's better to have an expert, or at least to have the first shot, the right shot.
Yes, of course. Hiring, competent counsel is a great advantage.
That's great. And actually, once these people come here, how long will they wait?
That depends on the category that you are in. Okay, as we discussed before, immigration divides up family relationships into different categories. Each category has a different waiting period. It goes now anywhere from 18 months to many, many years, 7 years, 15 years, or more, depending on
one of my
on the
nephew wait 10
categories.
years.
Yes, for example, the categories that we're talking about is the first preference category, that is the adult children of U.S. citizens. And right now that wait is approximately, they're working on applications from June of 2007. So that means they're waiting approximately 8 years if you're in that category. If you are just to give an example of how long the wait can be, if you are the brother or sister of a U.S. citizen, that wait, they're working on cases that were filed in February of 2002.
Oh.
So that is almost 13 years.
That's 13 years.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you are the married a married child of a U.S. citizen, they file cases, they're working on cases that were filed in December of 2003. So that's a slightly shorter wait. But so those are long categories. My thinking is that this program isn't necessarily designed for people in those categories. It's more designed for people in the first and second preference categories, which are the spouse and children, minor children of legal residents.
So as you see, we have all the details for you.
You're watching the NickyNick New York TV.
We'll be right back.
Jésus, tout ange face à terre, côté fini, couronne bizarre et couronne Seigneur, côté fini, couronne bizarre et couronne Seigneur. Choisi dans race Israël, non que bon Dieu racheté, en gloire pour lui qui parle au ciel et couronne Seigneur, en gloire pour lui qui parle au ciel et couronne Seigneur. Pour tout le monde dans chaque nation qui était sous la terre, par l'honneur comme plus grand chef et couronne Seigneur, par l'honneur comme plus grand chef et couronne Seigneur.
Good evening again. This is your host François Victor, sitting with Mr. Bradley Shaw. on immigration matters, on the new program designed specifically, and I would say exclusively, for Haitian, based upon what happened in 2010, the earthquake and everything else. They figured that, you know, Haitians have suffered enough. They are separated from their families, and therefore they have designed this program to help Haitians who still have their loved ones abroad. However, some conditions, and I guess Mr. Bradley would give you, you have heard everything that we have elaborated on for you. However, we want to make a resume of the different points that we have talked about in terms of
Yes.
the time or whatever. You go
Right.
ahead and
Well,
tell.
the first thing, very important, is you must have, to be eligible for this program, you must have had an application filed for you by your legal resident relative or U.S. citizen relative. The application must be filed and pending. That's the first point. The second point is the National Visa Center, which is an agency of the Department of State, will notify all eligible applicants. You can't notify them, they will notify you, and then they will send you the appropriate application package to the address that you have included on your application. So it's very important that if you have moved, these applications could have been pending for a long time, and you may have moved during that period of time and not remembered to notify them of a change of address. Very important that you notify them of a change of address. Once you receive that package, it will give you the requirements, what forms to fill out, what documents to include, what fees to pay, because you have to expect that this will not be a free program and that there will be some fees associated with it. All of those,
Like always, immigration always carry a fee.
That's how they pay for the services through fees.
Okay.
They're able to staff these programs. And after the application is received and completed, it goes back to National Visa Center. They complete their processing, and then they'll send the application to the U.S. consulate in Haiti, and your relative will then go to an interview at the consulate, and they will, if the case is approved, they will be issued a visa. They will be issued a parole document, and a parole document is a travel document. It allows them to enter the United States. Usually it has a date on it that says how many entries and departures it's valid for, but so they'll be issued that document and they'll be able to come to the United States, and presumably once they're here, apply for the employment authorization and the Social Security number. And this will allow them to work legally while they're waiting for their priority date to be reached. And once their priority date is reached, that means they're eligible to apply for the permanent residence card, which is another process.
Well, actually, one thing we want you to remember, the word parole. A parole is a parole. That's where you wait for a decision for, you know, either to be released or to be exempt from certain whatever you have done.
Right.
So the application. So therefore, a parole document, this is the document that you will fill out to allow you to enter here. That will be your visa, right?
That is, it's a form of visa, but it's really, I mean, it has a separate designation.
With conditions on it.
It allows legal travel. It doesn't necessarily grant any specific status.
Okay.
It allows you to enter the United States legally until your status is determined.
Okay, that's
so it's a
if you are here, you can still go back to Haiti. Probably you must still go back to Haiti and come back again. In other words, like it's like you have a.
It may be it may authorize multiple entries.
Yeah, it may.
It may.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. We don't know. But typically, a parole document is valid for, depending on the case. Sometimes it's just valid for one entry. Other times it's valid for multiple entries, or through a certain time period, for 1 year, let's say. But that may even be renewable. Let's say your case is pending. You may be able to renew your parole. And that would allow you to travel as well.
I think that is good enough. So remember that you do not apply. They will have to send you a letter letting you know that you are eligible for the program, and then that's when you contact an attorney or a qualified personnel, a qualified counsel to fill out for you. Do not make any mistakes on these papers. Don't try to do it by yourself. Don't try to be the hero here, because one shot can, if you do it right the first time, that would prevent you a lot of trouble or a lot of waiting time. So therefore, that's why we on NickyNick New York TV, we have brought here Mr. Bradley, who is an attorney. Actually, he takes care of immigration matters, citizenship, and all cases in the immigration court, in case that you have problems or whatsoever. That's his expertise. And everybody who's listening to me now knows that sometimes immigration cases can be really tedious work, whereas you don't know who to call, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do anymore, and therefore that's when you have an expert on your case in order to have it right the first time. So, Mr. Bradley, beside this program here, they have other program like the TPS. Is it done with? Is this something that's over, or?
No. Well, specifically referring to the Haitian community, TPS, which is known as Temporary Protected Status, was a program that was instituted following the earthquake that granted Haitian people in the United States a certain protected status. And that status, TPS, Temporary Protected Status, has been extended through January of 2016.
2016, that's yes. Another 2 years over to
yes.
the TPS.
But there are requirements that you have to meet, to be eligible. You have to have been here before a certain date.